You're listening to For the Republic, a love letter to Star Wars animation.
Hello there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to For the Republic, a love letter to Star Wars animation. We are here on Andor Day itself to talk about Star Wars Celebration Japan in its entirety. It is the full crew back here, Andrew, Donovan, and Conor back here once again. First time Conor's been on the show since Acolyte, I think. So, Welcome back, buddy. You were just like, oh, I'm back in. If we're doing a celebration episode, I'm in.
Dude, celebration. So, okay, first of all, I gotta say, go Birds.
Yes.
I can't get over. I will never get over that Super Bowl. That was the greatest. That must have been the greatest hate watch for you ever, Andrew.
I was loving every minute of it. I'm not even like a big Philly sports guy, but I was just like, I hate the fucking Chiefs. And I was just like, part of me was just like, oh man, it's going to be so fun because Austin's a big Chiefs fan. So I'm just like, oh, it's going to be so funny if they lose. But also, I hate the Chiefs. And I just have bad luck, though, of like every time I make fun of my friends' sports teams, awful shit happens to my team almost 5 seconds later. So I was just like, okay, this is going to be fine. This is going to be fine. And then they won. And I was like, oh, this feels amazing. But anyway,
it was a great day for Chiefs haters, and it was an even better day for Drake haters.
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely.
I'm so glad I got on board like that feud just in time to watch that.
that was a moment.
Just that was insane. That halftime show was great, and I could talk about the game for hours. I just can't. But like, even if okay, I'll say this before we get back to like what this podcast is actually about.
Even a game that happened 2 months ago.
Yeah. Even in my most hopeful of predictions, a 24-0 lead at halftime was never in the cards in my mind.
Beautiful.
Ever. If you had told me the Eagles would be up 24-0 at halftime, I'd say you're on crack. But they were. And it was insane. And I still can't get over the fact that Cooper DeJean, on his birthday, in his rookie year as an Eagle, his first career NFL interception is a pick six in the Super Bowl.
Beautiful.
That's nuts.
You can't even write that shit, man.
You can't.
No.
You can't.
But anyways.
Speaking of writing,
yeah.
Star Wars.
There we go. It hooked you back in.
They really did, man.
Good segue.
Life's been kicking my ass, and I really want to get. I've really just been wanting to get back into it, but I just can't find the motivation for it. And again, I'm very behind on High Republic. Very behind. I have barely started Eye of Darkness, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should read these. I should read Phase 3 so I can get all of Keeve Trennis's story. No, I failed to God, I'm sorry.
I can actually report that I have in fact finished Eye of Darkness finally. It took me half the year to get through that thing. It is such a downer for like a huge chunk of it. But
with the Living Force,
without getting into spoilers,
it took me 10 months to finish that book.
Oh god, like literally I spent ages. I spent ages trying to read it. I had to def it off so I could read The Living Force. Finally finished The Living Force. Had such a great time with that I was going to read Mace Windu and the Glass Abyss, which I have still read. But then I started rereading I started reading Eye of Darkness again, and I was like, you know what? I'm actually reinvigorated, and I just blitzed through it in a few days, like the other half of it. So
I wish I could read like that, but ADHD.
I used to be able to, and I can't do it anymore.
It comes in spurts for me. My ADHD is the same. I'm like, it's in spurts. Suddenly I'll just get like a real, I'll be sprinting through a book, and then there'll be days where I just can't.
But yeah, we are here to talk about all 3 days of celebration. We're going to be going over the major news, the major panels, and also just some fun stuff that we enjoyed from Celebration, because it's been 2 years since we've had one. Sadly, it's going to be 2 years until we have another. But We're going to have some fun here. And I get to finally just gush openly about the stuff that I was trying to restrain myself with. If you missed it, we have been covering Celebration. We did a preview show, and then I also did daily recaps, which I wasn't going to do, and then the Gosling stuff happened, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do them. So speaking of our prediction show, Don, so if you did not watch our previous episode or listen to our previous episode, we came up with a bingo card of just some predictions that we could see during Celebration. Some were reasonable, some were out there. We did not get a bingo, sir. We got 6 right. 7 of you include the free
Oh, wait. The Simon Kinberg trilogy, didn't we?
Now, I wrote this after the Mando panel, so I was like, oh, more news, like maybe a title or something. So I didn't know if I could mark that down. So and then I was just like, does Mask of Evil count as a Revenge of the Sith tie-in book? But that was also pre-announced.
Exactly,
so maybe some of these I can edit, but I was like, oh, we didn't do great. I thought my layup was going to be Skeleton Crew Season 2. That didn't happen yet. All of Don's out there ones about Obi-Wan sadly didn't happen. And we didn't get our Queen Natalie Portman. But
I didn't get my Huyang novel. I want my Huyang novel.
Well, you got Huyang quad-wielding lightsabers, so that's...
Yeah, which that's even better, arguably. Huyang having his General Grievous moment, that's going to be awesome.
Does that count as the Grievous book that we had on there? Is this Huyang?
From a certain point of view, you could argue it.
So. But I think we can start off with the Mando and Grogu panel, which really was maybe a third of a Mando panel and then 2/3. Hey, here's this shit we got coming out. So Kathleen Kennedy came out with Jon Favreau, and I believe Filoni was out there as well. She just kind of speed ran through a lot of the movies that are still in development. Some were shocks to me. She was like, oh, Dawn of the Jedi is still happening with James Mangold. The new Jedi Order movie with Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, that's still happening. I'm assuming that that's going to be coming next out of the 2 that we already have in the pipeline, just because we have the most news about the production cycle there. We know Filoni's movie is
with
coming.
The writers and stuff.
Absolutely. We know Simon Kinberg. This was the first official wording that a trilogy of movies directed by him were coming. Because we've had outside sources report it, but this was like the first time Lucasfilm itself had mentioned it. And then Taika's movie, which I feel like we haven't heard about in maybe 4 or 5 years, is still happening apparently. And I think there was news about the writer that dropped shortly after Celebration. I don't remember it off the top of my head right now. So we know those are coming. And then they're like, oh, but there is one movie coming before all those. And then Sean Levy came out, still riding off the high off of Deadpool and Wolverine. And he pretty much said, there's been a lot of rumors about who is cast in my movie. And I'm here to tell you that those rumors are absolutely true. And then out comes Ryan fucking Gosling. And when I tell you, Donovan and I were recording that Celebration Bingo episode as that panel was happening. And because we timed it horribly, as we always do here For the Republic. So as that panel was happening, I see literally maybe 5 minutes before we start recording, I see Ryan Gosling on my Twitter feed and I go, motherfucker, how am I going to keep myself contained? And that was one of the predictions I was going to have for certain. And then it happened. And I alluded to it briefly in our last episode, but I'll say this. This has been something I've wanted for years. Going back to, throwback here. In 2018, during my first attempt at a Star Wars podcast, we did an episode where we pitched our own horror story set in Star Wars, and mine specifically focused on having Gosling in the lead role. It was pretty much just Blade Runner 2049 meets the Brain Invaders arc of Clone Wars. I was not as coy as I thought I was.
Yeah. Also,
now
I just looked it up. So the writer that I guess is going to be co-writing the Taika movie along with him is Tony McNair. Tony
Yeah, from
McNairma.
Poor Things.
I can't. Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, it is the.
Wait, he wrote Poor Things.
Yeah,
the movie I saw
yeah.
with Scotty Jayro. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Speaking of Scotty, I have something right here that I'm going to bring up after the.
Dude, I
after we
just
talk about
ordered
this
it
panel.
too.
I
I just ordered that today. So
Gosling comes out. He's got a "Never Tell Me the Odds" hat on. When this like rumor first came out a couple months ago, I was like, "There's no way!" Like I was like, I am so excited. Obviously, because Barbie was the shit, but also just like Gosling's been my favorite actor for years. He comes out. I'm literally like having a similar reaction to when Daisy came back at last Celebration. Not the weeping that happened, but like I was getting emotional. And then he tells a story. They flash on the screen his mom sent him a picture of his old like bed sheets as a kid in their Empire Strikes Back. And I'm just like, oh, it's got me right here. And it's gonna be us. It's gonna be a pilot movie. Star Wars Starfighter coming out May 28th of 2023.
Gee, a Star Wars pilot movie. Where have we heard this?
We heard that one before.
Yeah, see, I was going to kind of ask you both. That was one of my first question. Do you both think that this is a reworked version of Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron movie that was originally announced back? Yeah, because I think it probably is.
Yeah.
It makes the most sense. It's post-sequel trilogy. It's about a pilot, and I don't know. The vibe of it kind of
it is set 5 years after
5 years after
which is so exciting. I love that we're finally taking a step beyond Rise of Skywalker because I love finally
that two of the movies that we know are coming out are set post sequel trilogy and they're at different points.
Yes,
the Rey movie is I think 15 years after Rise. And this is 5.
Oh my God, that's right. Dude, this is how behind on Star Wars I am. I completely forgot we're getting a Rey Skywalker movie.
Sometimes Disney forgets.
Yeah.
Too. It's okay. But it's allegedly still happening. They just said it on Friday that it was still happening.
That's good.
I hope so.
But I do Daisy again.
I want to see Daisy again. So
I need to see her kicking ass.
I thought we were going to see her this weekend, as said the bingo board, and that sadly did not happen.
No.
But I'm with Don. I do think that a lot of what was planned for Rogue Squadron probably got retooled into this movie. And I think they said the fact that Gosling was interested in this movie was what fast-tracked this movie into production compared to all the other movies that were announced at last Celebration. And I like that they announced this and they actually were transparent and they said, we're going to be shooting this fall. Here's where we are in the production pipeline. We're at the point where we're ready to announce this. And I'm like, this is just refreshing because admittedly, one of the more frustrating things about being a Star Wars fan the past decade has been the
lack of
announcements, lack of transparency. This is coming, this is coming, this is coming. And then we don't hear about it for years or, oh, there's this creator got replaced.
Oh, no, it got canceled. Oh, no.
So,
Rangers of the New Republic.
Rangers of the New Republic. Why did that get canceled? I don't know. I
can't imagine why.
I can't imagine why that
can't
movie
be canceled if it wasn't a show to begin with. But still,
it's okay. We got Carson Teva now. It's better.
Yeah. Hera.
And Hera. Absolutely. The one thing I do hope you mentioned Hera. Now I have that thought in my head of Hera being, although she would be relatively old at this point. But I do think Poe in this movie is an option. I think it's a possibility.
Well, Oscar Isaac was supposed to be here, and then he canceled.
And then he canceled because of scheduling conflicts because of something filming.
The moon haunts you.
But
Marvel Rivals reference.
I'm very excited for this one. I got way more excited than I ever thought I would over a title reveal and just one actor coming out. They did tease a new Starfighter, I believe, that like because Gosling left through and like you could see a Starfighter in the background, and people were saying it's a new design. So that's like a pretty cool way of teasing something new here. Literally all they need to do with this movie to make it work is just do Top Gun Maverick, put a Star Wars coat of paint on it, and boom, there you go. Have Gosling be
argue
cool.
with that.
Have Gosling like get to be funny, and boom, there you go. You've got yourself a hit.
I mean, that movie slaps.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. But then we get on to the Mando panel, or actually the Mando part of the Mando panel, and this is when I was talking earlier. The one thing that I will say about this celebration is that, especially on day one, but the panels felt a lot shorter this year than they were in past years. Because I just felt, especially with this Mando panel, it felt like they talked about Mando for maybe 15 minutes and then, all right, panel's over, guys. It's just like, I get it, we're still a year out from this movie, but the fact that we really didn't get anything new, like we know that Sigourney Weaver is going to be a pilot now, which is cool because I thought she was going to be like a droid or something. So I'm glad that she like
that would have been funny as shit. If
it would have been, but I like that we have a more concrete direction of what her character is. I love that Pedro Pascal was actually there. Like, that man is just... Does he ever have any free time? I'm not sure.
Well, he's got a lot more now, if you've been watching The Last of Us.
If you know what happened, if you've played the Last of Us games, you know what happens.
Anyone up for a round of golf?
And so...
Oh, pain.
Stop.
Look, I got to deal with whatever puns he's going to be making when people die in indoors. So, I mean, I get to have one.
Oh, that Nemec joke is going to haunt me.
So,
yeah, except that's Star Wars. That's expected. This wasn't. Stop.
Oh.
So anyways, the Mandalorian and Grogu. We saw Rada the Hutt with muscles.
Yeah. Buff Rada, baby.
Like, just I've got to say, like, we started this podcast off talking about Rota and like wondering, will they ever bring Rota
played like by Jeremy Allen White of all people? That is a Mad Libs sentence.
That is a Mad Libs. Rada the Hutt, played by the guy from The Bear. I wish that's the one thing is I wish they brought him out.
Oh my god! Could you imagine? Like I can't. Like I just the thing that cracks me up so much about Rada the Hutt, Rada the fucking Hutt, who was a baby in the Clone Wars movie, being played by the guy who fucking crashes out 99% of the time in The Bear. I still need to watch season 3.
Yeah, and
I still need
almost
to finish
done with it.
But like, just the fact that like that guy's playing Rada the Hutt is the funniest shit ever in my mind.
Hilarious.
Because it's like
I need him and Ahsoka to meet again.
Because like I know he's probably gonna do like some type of voice modulator thing, but like if it was just straight up Jeremy Allen White's voice on Rada the Hutt, that shit would take me out of the movie, but in the best way possible.
I think it actually will just be his voice because, like, why else would you get him? I don't think he'll. I think he'll speak Huttese in a few scenes, but I think it's going to be like Zero, where it's like just a regular kind of basic voice. Which I think again,
I was going to try and do Zero's accent, but I can't do the impression.
Oh God!
Oh, Senator, what brings you to Mass?
I don't want to watch this movie. I don't want to watch this movie anymore.
Dude, Andrew, have you heard Nikki Kumar's Zero impression? No. It's really good. It's really fucking good.
Does this mean, by the way, that we'll see Mama the Hutt again, do you think?
Maybe.
I feel like it's not out of the realm of possibility. Dave was playing coy. Because in the Good Morning America interview, he was like, "Oh, I'm playing a role in this movie," and everyone just assumed it was Trapper Wolf. But he also voices someone in the Clone Wars that's been rumored to be in this movie, a certain bounty hunter. So
Embo, right?
Embo, yep.
Oh, Embo, yeah.
So-
That's like been the rumor for a while that Embo's like going to be like on Rotter's ass and Mando is going to protect him, which I've got to say, Mando fighting Embo, it sounds fucking sick. Like that's
sick.
one of like I've been wanting Embo to come back for ages. He's one of the coolest bounty hunters that we've seen, like sort of designed. He's a great
character
like,
I'm
bloodshot
honestly shocked never showed up in the Bad Batch. Or like in any of the like tales of things, like it just feels like
post Clone Wars stuff.
Yeah, like we finally
Maybe he
got
shows
Barris
up
back.
in another show that we're going to talk about in a couple minutes.
Oh, maybe,
Ooh.
maybe, but yeah, I'll say I don't know. I feel like we got some cool stuff, but the fact that like, oh yeah, this is the last celebration panel we're gonna have before the movie drops. I'm just like, we know it's done filming. Maybe a little bit of something, maybe like a 30-second teaser. Is all I'm saying is but we did get officially our eyes have laid eyes upon Buff Rod of the Hutt. So
What
there's
a
something.
sentence. What a goddamn phrase.
What a sentence.
Buff Rod of the Hutt.
Buff
Indeed.
Rot of the Hutt, who's a gladiator. Like, does this mean he's going to fight Chrysanthemum? Oh,
Dude, I can't even begin to just the mind fuckery that would have on me would be insane.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, Rod of the Rod of the Hutt, a fucking infant by the Clone Wars movie. 17 years later, it's just gonna show up again as a fucking Buff Hutt, and it's
In a
gonna
gladiator arena.
fucking Wookiee. Like that sounds like dude, Buff Rod of the Hutt fighting Chrysanthemum sounds like something you would see in like the Bounty Hunters comic.
yeah.
It's exactly
maybe
something
like-
you would see in a fucking comic book.
Or maybe like Detours or something like that. Or,
Yeah,
Yeah.
or like Lego Rebuild the Galaxy.
I need to catch up on the.
I'm halfway
very-
through it. Halfway through it. I'll get there eventually because we know that they're announced a season 2. Ashley Eckstein is back playing Brickhead's Ahsoka, which is
I love
kinda,
it.
it's kind of cursed, but I'll deal with it. We can
We
now
also
move
have
on.
we also had a giant Chewbacca
Oh yeah.
appearing, which I can represent here, thankfully.
Oh, what? It's the guy from the show. There he is.
Back
But
in
now I
Ukraine,
think we can move on to the publishing panel, which there was
yes.
2 of them. There was one that was manga focused because we were indeed in Japan, and then there was the Lucasfilm publishing panel, which had a lot of previews of upcoming books and comics. I feel like not many new announcements of like canon novels coming out. Like we got an extended preview of like the Star Wars main comic run that's coming. I know they shared some cover art that looked really cool. But I feel like Art of Andor was announced, which I'm excited for. I do want to talk about the fact that we're getting a Jedi Fallen Order manga. I think that's going to be sick.
Yes.
We're getting a Thrawn adaptation. Maybe they'll actually finish it, unlike the Thrawn Alliance comic, where they just kind of ended it 3 issues in. And then the sequel trilogy one, which I think it's called Path of the Lightsaber.
Oh, I really like the sound of that. That sounds awesome.
That got the announcement that the villain is going to be a Knight of Ren, which looked really cool. Then there was also
they announced another Knight of Ren for the Legacy of Vader comic, Tava Ren, who I will say right now is infinitely cooler than the entirety of the Knights of Ren put together on a design level. Like she is so cool. Like it's the kind of thing where it's like I almost hope she survives the comic so she can turn up later.
I have the first 2 issues of Legacy of Vader downloaded on my tablet, but I have yet to read them. I also have the first issue of Jedi Knights
cool.
downloaded, which I want to start. That's one I definitely want to keep up with because I love the concept of it. And I love the the artwork, and I just think I like the fact we're getting more prequel Jedi story before Phantom Menace, which is
another comic to add to my collection.
Exactly.
God damn it. I'm so goddamn behind. I still need to read. I need to read. Oh my God. Dude, the books and comics, man, I will never catch up.
I have a whole I have so many books to read. I literally have tried to order them in I've had to try to have them in order of timeline, so I can go from Padawan all the way up to Aftermath in timeline order. And then they announced more stuff about on day 3, and I've just thrown all that out the window, which we'll get to later. I'm gonna quickly interject about since we brought up Legacy of Vader. Since the last time we talked about that comic, we all thought a certain Targaryen had bitten the dust.
Yep.
But it turns out Charles Soule was just trolling us all. I don't know if I sent you an image, Andrew, that I was planning for us to use in the pod. I need to find it. I will send it to you later.
Okay.
But yeah, that was. That was a weird time when we were all mourning.
Yeah, we were all like, Watto's dead! And then we were like, dead. No, he's not.
No, he's not. He's been fine the whole time. Literally, Tyler Red is told, no, he didn't kill Watto. He didn't kill him. Calm down.
But we didn't really get to talk about Mask of Evil our last episode, Don, so I guess we can talk about it a bit here. Adam Christopher's writing it, who wrote Shadow of the Sith, so he's playing with more dark side stuff. And from what they described at this panel, it sounds like it's very close after the events of Revenge of the Sith. So that is really intriguing to me, that we're getting Vader at that point. Because I know the Soul run is what is it, a year after Revenge of the Sith?
Okay, wait. So, I just looked it up. Adam Christopher, there is some clarification from the author himself. Adam Christopher said that the novel Master of Evil is set during a gap in Soule's Vader comic.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, and I say that because I'm pretty sure let me look this up, actually. Because I remember that the Mustafar arc is set 12 BBY. And all the other arcs, like the Mon Cala arc, the first arc, the other arc, or whatever the fuck, I can't remember. I haven't read these comics in forever. Are all set as we all know, it begins right after Revenge of the Sith, and I think progresses a year.
Yeah.
So I had to assume it's probably set in that a year, that 6-year gap or so of oh, I'm gonna destroy the Mon Calamari and destroy their insurrection. Oh, I'm gonna try and save fucking Padme.
Yeah,
probably set between that.
Yeah, no, because the plot is essentially about that.
Yeah, which I have got to say,
raise Padme from the dead.
I feel like it's probably going to be. I'll be interested to see because, my other co-host Jared pointed this out. I feel like it's probably going to be more so about himself at first. I don't know. Maybe we're wrong, but because you don't want to reach. Because I just don't feel like they're going to retread that story because it's the Padme stuff has been told time and time and time again. So I feel like it might just be an intro. I don't know. My guess is it's probably an introspection on Vader himself in terms of how do I cheat death? Oh no, I can't do it. I'm stuck in a coffin of my own mistakes. Oh no. And then he just delves further and further into the dark side because it's the only thing he knows how to do. It's the only thing keeping him alive basically at this point.
Mm-hmm. It is one of the coolest covers out
dude,
there.
It's a sick cover. It's a very
so cool.
Dude, if you showed this cover is very reminiscent of if you showed me this cover in from 2006 to 2008,
yeah,
after Revenge of the Sith, I would explode with euphoria. That shit would be awesome.
It's got a very Lovecraft kind of vibe with it almost the mask almost looking very Cthulhu-esque with the tentacles. I love it. It's very it's very disturbing in a way that I really like how this era of Star Wars has just been knocking it out of the park consistently with Vader stories, barring one like short story which we shall not mention. But I'm really excited for that for that novel. Really, I haven't finished Secrets of the Sith. I wound up like abandoning it to focus on High Republic.
I still have not. I'm so behind. Again, I need to read Master and Apprentice. I need to read The Living Force. I need to read the Mace Windu novel. I need to finish Shadow of the Sith. I need to. I don't know, there's just so many goddamn books that I've not started.
This is the theme
so
of
many
our,
that I've gotten halfway through, and then I'm like, oh well, the new one's out, so I gotta read that.
I hate, like, on one hand, I hate that I'm a visual person, because like when it comes to comics, I can zip through those pretty much no issue if I really get started on them. Books, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
forget it.
It's the neurodivergent struggle.
I hate it.
But anyways, Watto lived. This is what time.
Fuck yeah.
Lived.
Also, I just remembered. So I'm going to Fan Expo Philly in May, and Charles Soule's gonna be there.
Ooh.
Yes.
So
that'll be sick.
Hopefully gonna get to meet him.
That will be sick.
I hope you do, dude.
The other ones I wanted to talk about personally before Don can handle the High Republic stuff, because I am so far behind, were the Acolyte books, which we knew we were getting, but Wayseeker and what is the Ord and Jeki one called?
Crystal Crown is
Crystal
what it's
Crown.
called.
Yeah, it was something Crystal. I was like, Crystal Christ. I'm like, no, that's the old Clone Wars arc. So I was like, which one is it? But that's maybe my most anticipated book of the year, just because I love that pairing of Ord and Jeki, and like, yes, the impact of losing them was worth it for the episode, but the pain is still there, and the fact I'm like, oh, but there could have been so much more. So I'm hoping that we get that in the book. I am hearing that Wayseeker, the Vernestra one, kind of touches on things that are revealed in Trials of the Jedi. So I would maybe recommend waiting on that one.
Yeah.
But speaking of Trials of the Jedi, take it away for the High Republic.
Well, so that's out in June, I believe. I didn't really see a huge amount about it on the panel, really. But it's wild to think that we're like this close to the end. And I also have like,
I miss the THR show. Bring it back.
Bring it back. We need a farewell. We needed like a finale for Christina Ariel's coverage of High Republic.
I need to read phase 2 too. Well, I need to speed run through phase 3 and get everything down about it. And then also probably kind of read phase 2 just so I could talk to her and be like, hey, High Republic, what do you think? And then probably soft launch and be like, hey, what's your favorite Clone Wars episode? Your favorite Clone Wars arc? That you can come on here and we can talk Clone Wars.
We can talk Clone Wars. Absolutely.
But again, yeah, I hate that the High Republic show just isn't happening anymore, I guess. And it really sucks because there was phase 1 of the High Republic with what we cultivated in the community, it just felt so goddamn strong.
That was something.
It really was.
That was something.
So
yeah, that's why I hate being
gone.
That's why I hate being so far behind. Is like I hear all this news about Trial of the Jedi and everything from this panel, and I just feel so disconnected. Because I'm like, I don't know. Like last time I was reading these books, like this character wasn't doing these things that they're doing now, and I'm just like, what is this new world that I'm seeing?
Yeah, and it's like the thing that sucks for me too is like obviously as listeners and watchers. I don't know why. That sounded really weird in my head. Listeners and watchers of the show know. Keith Trennis is my favorite Star Wars character. I probably could get away with just reading the comics and Tempest Breaker and I'd be fine. But like, I want the big picture of the High Republic and how the Jedi like sort of necessitate their own downfall by the time of the prequels. But I probably could just read the main comic and be fine. It's a struggle. I hate this.
It really is. It's weird with like High Republic. I also feel like disconnected, as you said, Andrew. You know, I've literally have just finished Eye of Darkness. I've been meaning to get onto the next one, Escape from Valo. I'm a couple of chapters into that. I'm hoping to blitz through the rest of Phase 3 before Trials of the Jedi come out and I get spoiled. But yeah, it's weird to think that we're so close to the end with the High Republic, and it's extra weird given that we've got these two Acolyte novels written by High Republic authors. You know, Tessa Gratton's doing The Crystal Crown, and Justina Ireland is doing Wayseeker, which is very fitting given that Justina has been very much kind of interlinked with Venestra. Like she wrote the first story with Venestra. She's arguably writing the last book with Venestra, so that's going to be very cool. But yeah, it's wild. It was really cool, kind of like for the panel. It was really cool to see Maggie Lovett host that. Yeah, it was very very cool.
Yeah, and I thought we were gonna get like
and Lydia Kang was there as well. I can't remember what she was working on. There was a bunch of different authors there. It was a really good panel. And yes, and there's the Industrial Light and Magic book as well. Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, we're getting ILM season 2, which again, another thing I need to watch. The only thing I know about the first season or the first documentary was that like J.J. Abrams, however, divisive he may be among this fan base, I think he had like the greatest quote describing Star Wars that like I've ever seen. And I think it was, you know what? I'm going to find it because like I got to read it word for word because it is like, it's the greatest quote ever. Like I'm biased. I like JJ. Is his style of Star Wars my thing? But like, the quote that he had here about it was just absolutely incredible. Let me see if I can find it.
All right. In the meantime, I was kind of like I was talking with you in our last episode, Don. I was kind of expecting them to maybe delve into what could be our next like publishing initiative a la the High Republic. They didn't do that. I know Alyssa Wong kind of coyly hinted at something coming down the pipeline, but they were like, oh yeah, no, that's all I can say without getting killed. So we'll probably get something at a later convention. But for now, we have to deal with the fact that the High Republic is ending soon and the world is going to be different. So that is upsetting, but it's been a good run. You know what else has been a good run? 20 years of Lucasfilm animation. And now this panel, this was, we really only need to talk about one thing. But there were some other things that were announced, or at least talked about. They showed, Filoni showed an animatic from the Cad Bane Boba Fett arc, which apparently had never been screened before.
Yeah, it's like a speeder chase with Anakin and Boba, which was really cool. Although it did kind of leave me with the feeling of why don't you just like reanimate it and release it? It looks really cool.
And then they screened the first episode of Tales of the Underworld. It was a Ventress one. Apparently, it goes into some questions that we may have had. So I am very excited for this one. We haven't talked about Tales of the Underworld on this show yet. What I will say is, at least in my mind, this is the most excited I've been for one of these Tales seasons, because both Jedi and Empire, I left feeling like, well, I liked a solid half of that. So, like, I'm hoping that this is the one. We're getting Ventress, we're getting Cad Bane, both in completely new stories, new like areas that we don't know anything about the characters, and I think it's got really good potential here. And we already know that we'll be having Katrina back on to talk about the Ventress episodes. So
we have
to. Anything you wanted to add about Tales of the Underworld before we get into Maul?
See, it's really funny. I had the opposite reaction to you, where I was a little weirdly tepid on it when I first watched the trailer, and I think I don't think it's not because of the characters really, because I like Ventress and I really like Cad Bane, and I'm excited to see more of them. I think it was more just my, like you said, my exhaustion with the kind of structure of those shows, because like, you know, they're very short, they're 15 minutes, and there's only like 3 episodes per character. It's hard to kind of like tell a full arc, especially when you jump through great periods of a time, like with Ahsoka and with Morgan Elsbeth, and even arguably Barriss. I liked Barriss, and I was really excited to see Barriss, but I did leave Tales of the Empire and Tales of the Jedi feeling a little bit like this is all right. This is nice. I liked half of it. I've done with a little more just to complete the arc a little bit. But this, the more I think about it, the more this looks really, really intriguing. You know, Ventress, getting to see Ventress kind of like taking on the Empire is gonna be really fun. This Padawan, this sort of Padawan she's taking under her wing. This Padawan who escaped Order 66. That's interesting dynamic. You've also got like you said, the fact that they're going to answer what happened to her and actually delve into stuff about the hidden path,
which I didn't think they were going to do. I thought they were just going to be like, oh, wink and a nod, she's back.
Yeah,
but
I'm so glad that they're actually just ripping the band-aid off and dealing with that, because it was a, you know, Dark Disciple was like a real big like contention for, well, a real flashpoint for like fans, because it was the goodbye to this character who had really gone on a journey in the Clone Wars, and to bring her back, like her return is one of the more shocking things I think we've seen in like a Star Wars trailer, because we'd all just assumed she was dead. Like it was a very final kind of story for Ventress, so for her to come back, it's like you kind of need like an exploration of that, which I fully trust we'll get a good explanation, given that it is, I think Matt Miknovitz is writing those shorts, and he always has excelled at the Dathomir stuff. If you've played Jedi Fallen Order, you'll know that he was just like the stuff he does with Merrin and like Tara Malikos, fantastic. And it's another reason I'm excited for the other big news that came out of the animation panel, which I think it's safe to say none of us
again. Yeah, we knew, like, we were like pretty headstrong on we are getting a new animated show announcement.
Yep.
We were dead wrong on what it was going to be about, though. I do still think Ventress is going to be in the show at some point. However, I don't think any of us expected a Darth fucking Maul show, but here we are.
With a sick-ass logo as well.
Sick-ass logo.
Oh, it's so
Shadow
cool.
Lord is such a great title. I love the fact that because it's between Clone Wars and Rebels, and I think Sam Witwer said on the celebration stage that it's going to be about a year after the Clone Wars ended, so like around the same time as the end of the Bad Batch, if things are adding up correctly. But also, like, there's so much in the timeline of we can learn more about Crimson Dawn, we can learn more about how he got to Malachor, so we can get more Night Sister lore. We can get more. Hold on, we can get more Holocron goodness.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that before. That is sick.
And I got this at Galaxy's Edge in the summer, and I keep forgetting it's on my desk. But
you got a Sith Holocron from Galaxy's Edge. That is sick, dude. That is really cool. I am in complete agreement with you there. Like, I was completely floored by the announcement of the Maul show, and I'm very excited to kind of see what they're going to do there. You know, I actually think this can kind of fill in some of our earlier grievances with Morgan Elsbeth, because one of the things that's like, they showed a trailer, didn't they? And one of the things that you see in the trailer apparently is Marek, the Inquisitor from Ahsoka, fighting Maul. So I think it's a pretty safe bet that we now will find out how Marek got offed prior to the Ahsoka film, that Maul just like straight up just murdered his ass. And I think we might see him like gift Marek's corpse to Elsbeth. Like maybe Maul even helps set her up on the city of Kaladin. It would kind of make sense given if she had like connections with him, given that they have like same kind of like lineage from like Dathomir. That would be really kind of cool. And it's why I think I'm excited that Matt Miknovitz is sort of heading this series, because he's very good at like all the Dathomir stuff. The potential for characters to show up in this is really interesting too, because I have a strong feeling that
Kira.
I actually don't think Kira will be in the show, and it's for the other thing. I think it's for the other thing that is in the series, and that is the Twi'lek teenager that it
Oh,
appears
the people
in the series.
the one that people think it's Darth Talon.
Of course, it's Darth. There's no way it's not Darth Talon. Like they're not gonna put a red-skinned Twi'lek who's Maul's Padawan into this series and not have it be Darth
George
Talon.
finally gets his wish.
Yeah, like I mean, it makes so much sense. Like this was a thing that George really wanted to do. He insisted that they do it for the Darth Maul video game, and then when he was drawing up his like sort of plans for like a sequel trilogy, thank you very much. When he was drawing up his plans for a sequel trilogy, just before the Disney buyout, one of the details, aside from Luke assembling the survivors of the Jedi Order, was that Darth Maul was the main villain and that Talon was his apprentice. So it makes so much sense to sort of finally kind of like follow through on that. And I know it means a lot to Sam Witwer because he's very much kind of like, in a non-toxic way, he really values like George's contributions. I remember him saying how much it hit him making the final season of the Clone Wars because it was the last thing of George's that were the last project George was directly involved in that was sort of ending, and that was very impactful. So I could see them wanting to adapt that, and it makes sense. You know, Talon is a really popular character in Legends. You know, I think they should probably brace themselves for the fact that there is probably going to be a subset of like people who are going to lose their minds because
you already know what's happening.
Yeah, like, rah, she's not wearing a crop top. They're wokeifying it. That kind of shit. But putting that aside,
remember they liked it when the 14-year-old wore the tube top.
Exactly. Yeah, but they're like, we don't do crop tops here anymore, guys. But I'm excited. I think Talon makes a lot of sense, and I actually think it makes a lot of sense for Talon to be here at this point, and it actually would explain why Maul sort of takes Kira under his wing and sort of treats her like his acolyte. I get the feeling I'm calling it now. Talon will probably betray him by the end of the series because, as we all know, Maul is basically Star Wars' Sisyphean figure. He exists to push that boulder up the hill, have it roll down constantly, and everything he builds gets like taken apart, and he has to start again. That's kind of his lot in life, and I will not be shocked if whatever he kind of builds up comes crashing down by the end of this series, and he has to start again, probably with Kira, because I would not be shocked if like Kira is off the board, and because I reckon this will carry on for like 3 series at least, given what.
Yeah, they announced this is a full-fledged series, so yeah. I'm assuming.
So we're getting at least like 2
seasons.
series, yeah. Like, and so I think it'll probably go for 3 series, like with the Bad Batch, and there's a lot of potential there for like cool stuff. I think we'll probably see different like criminal factions like Black Sun, the Ashiga clan maybe from Outlaws, and the Hutts obviously, but there's also potential for other characters to show up. I think you're right about Ventress. They've only really clashed the once, and it's an interesting fight, or an interesting kind of like mash up of characters. You could also see the Bad Batch happen. I think the Bad Batch could meet Maul, given that like they've sort of had dealings with the criminal underworld, so it's not out of the region of possibility that they like accidentally stumble on his shit and they have to do a job for him or something to get out of his crosshairs or whatever. Pun intended.
Yeah,
and any excuse to see Tech again would be great. In just to hear Tech's voice again, it would heal my soul slightly. But you could also I think Ahsoka will show up, because there's a line in Rebels that doesn't quite square with Series 7, and that is when Maul says, "Running away again, Lady Tano." And when you actually watch the Siege of Mandalore storyline, Ahsoka never runs from Maul. In fact, if anything, Maul is the one who is like running away from Ahsoka to get in the shuttle. Now, it could just be Maul being a little bitch and lying, but I wouldn't be shocked if they fight again, like during this time, because Ahsoka is already by this point acting as like an Agent Fulcrum for Bail Organa, doing missions for him. So it would make sense for them to like run into each other and have another fight. So yeah, there's so much potential with this, and it's really cool. And the last thing I'm going to say about this, because I'm aware this is a tangent, but I think part of the reason it's really exciting is that Maul has actually been kind of rested as a character for a while. We haven't got anything from Maul since 2020. So by the time this comes around, this will be the first time Maul has been in anything for 6 years. So it feels fresh, and it feels interesting in a way that perhaps another clone show wouldn't have been after like the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch. So there's a lot to be excited for.
I think it's nice that they're giving us a little bit of a break from the clones. I'm certain some are still going to show up because it's an animated Star Wars show. But I'm intrigued by the fact that this is probably going to be the darkest animated series that we've gotten. They've said like it's been nice how they progressively like aged up the intended audience with who was watching the Clone Wars at first. The Bad Batch was kind of aimed for those that grew up with the Clone Wars. Now those that finished the Bad Batch, here's this Maul show. You're a little bit older. In terms of characters, if Kira's not an option, well, I mean, going back to Crimson Dawn, I've been saying this for 3 years. They have that Dryden Voss animated model there somewhere. So I'm assuming he's going to show up at some point.
Pull Bettany back.
Just throw him in the booth.
I've been here the entire time. I can't find the fucking quote. I can't find it. But all I know, okay, so sidetrack. It was just, again, one of the greatest J.J. Abrams quotes ever. It was basically something about how he described Star Wars as where, like, oh, you know, when you're in your house or whatever, and you discover, oh shit, there's another floor. Like, there's more to this.
Oh, that's cool.
And like, he was like, Star Wars was that, man. He was like, there's more. Like, there's more we can do with movies and like storytelling. That was basically the quote. And I'm like, this is the greatest JJ quote I've ever heard because it's the truest thing he's ever said.
It's kind of spot on too.
I will find it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Maul Shadow Lord, I'm really excited. I'm pretty pumped for it. I'm excited to see what his conniving asshole is up to. And I think it's set before Solo. Oh wait, yeah, it's set like right after. I don't know, right
after Clone Wars. I think the year after is what we're said. So I think Solo is, what is that? Is that 10 years after?
I think so. It's like, I think it's like a year before Obi-Wan, I think, in terms of like the timeline, because it does jump a while, doesn't it? Like it jumps at least a year or two, I think, because of what goes on with Kira and like Han joining the Empire. Greatest transition in a Star Wars prequel.
Yeah.
We'll have you flying in no time. Whee!
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. The other thing, because you brought up Sam and his love of George's contributions to Star Wars. The one thing I loved, like when he was being interviewed, was he was talking about 2 moments where he pitched things to Dave for Maul to do, and Dave, oh, this isn't Maul's show, so it doesn't make sense here. And then he did it again. It's like, oh, this isn't Maul's show. But now it's like, oh, well, it is Maul's show now, so we are going to do those things. And I just think they're going to have a lot of fun with this. And I just love the fact that, again, this just felt different. But yes, Maul is a character we've seen plenty of at this point, but it's nothing any of us were expecting. And I think to get a show where it's going to be pretty heavy in the villainy and dark side aspects, where we got our taste of it with the Acolyte. We got it taken from us before they could go full Sith in season 2 with Plagueis. But getting to see Maul train an apprentice in the dark side is going to be very intriguing. And we know that there's going to be some, because it happens in every animated Star Wars show, there's going to be some type of found father trope happening in this show at some point. So we'll have to wait and see. But 2026, I'm like, I want it now. But I can deal with it for now. What is promising, though, is that they had a full-fledged, it wasn't like Mando or is a sizzle reel. They had a full-fledged trailer for it, which I may have seen through methods. But it looks really cool. Before we move into day 2, I just wanted to talk about one thing, and that was a fan panel that friend of the show, Scotty Jayro of the Bombad Cast did, talking about MIDI-CHLORIANS, going off of his video essay from last year. And also we can say published author Scotty Jayro.
Yep.
I got this Sunday. And Scotty, I can't wait to read this. It is available on Amazon now. MIDI-CHLORIANS, an alliance of science and mythology and magic by Scotty Jayro. Forward by Alden Diaz, friend of the show. And yeah, if you love Star Wars, if you love Star Wars mythology, Scotty has poured so much into this project, and I haven't even spoken to him directly about working on it, but you can just tell by the way he talks about it that this means a lot to him. And I started watching the panel. I'm gonna watch the whole thing soon, but I just wanted to shout that out. I'll link in the description. But yeah, no, it's crazy that you can say a friend of yours is a published author, but you know, you can say that now.
That's awesome.
That's pretty sick. Don, I don't remember if the Sidekicks panel that you wanted to talk about was on what day it was on, but I think
that was on day 3. But I will mention it now. Like,
let's just skip to it now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was only like there wasn't like anything big announced there, but I do recommend everyone check it out because it's a lovely panel. It
was streamed at the Star Wars stage?
It was on the live stream. You had Ashley Eckstein sort of moderating the panel since she was sort of started as a sidekick, with Ahsoka starting as Anakin's Padawan. But it was her, it was Ahmed Best representing Jar Jar, Alan Tudyk as K2SO, and Anthony Daniels as C3PO, and it was just a really heartwarming panel, like all talking about their own various experiences with Star Wars, and it's just a great time, like listening to them all sort of reminisce about like what led them to develop these kind of characters, and like some humorous interplay. Like one of my favorite moments is when Alan Tudyk recalls meeting Anthony Daniels on the set of Rogue One when Daniels was filming his cameo as 3PO, and he comes over and he says, "Oh, it's lovely to meet you. I'm also playing a droid." And Anthony Daniels goes, "Did they have you in a suit, or are you doing motion capture?" And Alan Tudyk said, I'm doing motion capture for this." And Daniels just paused and went, "You shit." And Daniels was just like pausing, and Anthony Daniels also like confirmed, "Yes, I did in fact say that." But also Ahmed Best, I just have so much love for Ahmed Best. It's so great to see him just living his best life, like getting to like come here and be so embraced by the fans. And he talks so much about like his and George Lucas's shared love of Buster Keaton, how like, as apparently you'll glimpse in the new ILM series, they're just like, they would spend the off time of like Phantom Menace watching TV, like watching stuff. He was a big fan of Jackie Chan and all that kind of stuff, and it was just like talking about the various influences that came together into him, like creating Jar Jar and the voice. And again, this is another great like story he tells. He had a real bad case of imposter syndrome during the first table read for Phantom Menace, when they like dropped down when they touched down in like London, in Leavesden, to film for the Phantom Menace. And during the first table read, he wasn't sure if he was going to do his Jar Jar voice, because he knew George liked it, but he was obviously feeling very kind of like imposter syndrome with like Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman, even Jake Lloyd, because Jake Lloyd had done like a film with Arnold Schwarzenegger prior to this. And he was just deliberating about it, and then it comes up to his first line, like when he goes, "Oh, moi, I love you," and a little voice in his head he said, "A little voice in my head just went, do it." And then he did the voice, and then he noticed immediately Jake Lloyd started laughing, and that was like the moment where he was like, I'm doing this voice. I did the right thing. It's so definitely. To anyone who like likes these characters and is just interested in hearing these actors like just get to candidly sort of discuss their roles and the origins and stuff, definitely watch it. Especially if you have like, if you get feel, there's a lot of feels there. There's a lovely standing ovation for Anthony Daniels. It's just a good time of a panel, so I recommend it.
Also, you can't talk about Celebration without talking about the greatest running gag, which is Anthony Daniels and Anthony Carboni and their running feud on the Star Wars stage.
Didn't he wrap him in bubble wrap to make sure he's okay for like 2027?
He did, yeah.
Oh,
speaking
that's of how we all feel about Anthony Daniels.
Bring back the Star Wars show. We talked about the High Republic show. Just bring them all back. What was the panel that Manny Jacinto showed up on? I don't remember.
Which one? I know he showed up on the Celebration stage, which is again very heartwarming, and also kind of like a measurement of actually how actual Star Wars fans feel about the Acolyte, because you could audibly hear chants of season two. And I love that Kristen Baver gifted him like a Stranger helmet, and he got to put it on and like strike a peace pose for the crowd. That was great. Just lovely stuff, really.
Even if we don't get a proper second season ever, give us Manny back in the role one more time.
Yeah, him and Amanda Stenberg, they so deserve it. They're both amazing.
Absolutely. If we want to move on to day 2, though, we can, of course, talk about the show that's premiering as of the time we're recording 35 minutes from now, which is Andor Season 2.
God, yeah. Sorry.
The end of the episode. But I got the quote.
It's our running joke through this live stream. Is Conor going to find the quote?
It's not a joke.
He's looking. He's deep in thought wanting this quote.
God fucking damn. It's so good, too. That's the other thing. It's so good.
One of these days, we'll somehow,
I'm an idiot. There's probably a light magic like transcript.
There probably is. That would make a lot of sense.
Look that up to start. I'm an idiot.
So Andor, oh man, this was another one where it was pretty short because the season at the time was debuting in like 3 days, but it was great seeing the cast out there again. The fact that they were like, oh yeah, this is our 3rd celebration talking about this show. I'm like, has it been that long already? And this is the 2nd celebration that season 2 has had, which is crazy to me. But I love this cast. I loved getting to see Diego Luna and Alan Tudyk just like go at it again. And Diego was sharing the stories of on the set of Rogue One where he kept laughing at what they had Alan Tudyk wearing with like the backpack with the K2SO head on it. It was like, oh yeah, if you watch Rogue One, if you look closely, there's a scene with K2 where you can just tell that I'm laughing during the scene, and I got to go back and watch it because he kept saying, when you go back and watch Rogue One, it's going to be a different movie. And I'm like, what do you mean by that, Diego? So I'm like debating.
We were planning on watching Rogue One anyway. I think it's safe to say, but I appreciate him like saying that anyway. And I think I know the scene that he's talked about. It's the scene where like K2 like backhands Cassian, and you can see Diego covering his mouth because he doesn't want to laugh. It's because it is admittedly a funny scene. Quiet, and there's a fresh one if you mouth off again.
I'm so excited to see K2 again, man. Like
I'm so excited.
The first time I watched Rogue One, he was my absolute favorite part of that movie.
Me too.
And I have grown to love all the characters of Rogue One, especially now with Andor. But K2 is still just great. And as great as season 1 was, I missed him. And the fact that we're going to see, they kept referring to him as like, oh, when he was born, we're going to get that in this season. I'm very excited. I wonder if it's going to be these first couple episodes that we're getting tonight. But I think I've decided that whatever night I watch the last episode, because I'm just letting everyone know right now, not every week am I going to be able to watch all these episodes back to back to back. I'll probably watch the first one tonight, and then I'm already exhausted right now, so I don't know if I can get through 3 episodes. Especially after recording this and then probably having to edit. Anyways, but whatever night I watch the last episode of Andor, I think I'm going to immediately go into Rogue One right after that and just see how it goes, because we know Tony Gilroy has told us yeah, we're gonna end on the Ring of Kefrine and go right into Rogue One, and I'm just like, I can't wait to see this fucking show.
I still love the fact that he just straight up told us how it's gonna end.
Mm-hmm.
Like for obvious reasons, Star Wars creators for the most part are pretty tight-lipped when it comes to how's the show gonna end, and Tony Gilroy out here is just here's how it's gonna end, guys. It's not a fucking secret.
I love that confidence though, that he's so confident in the material, and to see all the great reviews it's been getting, and just the general awe that it's inspired as a series. I was very worried. I was a bit worried that it would be, the consensus would be, oh, it's good. It's not as good as season 1. It's still excellent, but it doesn't reach season 1's heights. And to hear some people say it's better.
Yep.
it's like, oh wow, this is really something special, and it's lovely that the cast have just like to hear the cast like come in here and talk about it, and this very real kind of acknowledgement of like this being something special that is about to come to an end.
Confidence by the fact they like screened for the press screeners, they screened the entire 12 episodes.
That's wild.
For a lot of these shows, it's like, oh, the first 2 or 3, the first like. I think Bad Batch season 3 was like, yeah, the first 6 episodes. The fact that they're like, here's the entire season, and they're not worried about like it backfiring is crazy, because as we said, after we covered Acolyte and Skeleton Crew, like you could tell Lucasfilm felt very confident, or at least they thought they had a surefire hit in the Acolyte during the marketing of it. And then Acolyte Discourse trademark happened, and they were very tentative going into Skeleton Crew. And you could tell kind of in the marketing and the way that they were talking about it. And then that ended up being a massive hit and kind of surprising a lot of people with how much people enjoyed and fell in love with that show. With Andor, it's like, nope, we're back. This is going to be the greatest shit ever, and we know it. And I can't wait to watch the episode. I don't even think we really need to talk more about the panel, besides the fact I love this cast. They got to watch the first fucking episode, which I called it. I said they're going to get to watch the Andor episode. I thought maybe even the first arc, but they got to watch the first episode. It's crazy that I know people that have seen this goddamn show already, and I'm very excited to watch it. And again, that's one of my favorite Celebration memories of when the ones I was at were going to the panels and them being like, oh, well, we could show you a trailer or we could show you a whole episode, and then we got to watch that. So like getting to see that, but it being like a show this hyped up and it being like one that's coming in a couple of days is just insane to me. And
I found the quote.
You found
yes. So I thought it was longer. So it's in the beginning of the 3rd episode of the Light and Magic documentary, and JJ they're like, I guess they're talking about how they describe Star Wars, and he goes, it was like discovering another floor of your house. It was like, wait, I can go there? It's literally it. But it's just perfect.
It's a perfect quote.
It is a perfect line. That might be one of the best quotes J.J. Abrams has ever said, and it's so apt for Star Wars. So that's a good quote. That's banger.
Yeah, I zoned out on half this episode just to find that fucking quote.
Find the fucking quote.
Yeah, dude. The thing with Andor, I don't know what it is. Like, I get why people were like, "This is a weird trailer. This is a weird song choice for the trailer." But like, dude, the first Andor trailer we got with the Revolution Starts Now song, that is a top 3 Star Wars trailer for me.
It's so good.
Vibe with that
so
shit.
Triumphant.
So hard.
I love it so much. Like, it's so triumphant and so cool. And even with like the second trailer, like bringing more of the dread back, it's got such a kind of like rebellious feel and like this surge of energy of the characters all coming together and striking at the Empire. And it's really, it just builds excitement, which is exactly what you want, especially after the way season 1 ended. Season 1 had a very kind of like, it ended on a lot of promise of like fighting the Empire, and the trailer just really carried that energy through. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this show.
One last thing before we move on to Ahsoka, Bix. That's it. Okay.
Here's my question. I just remembered something. Andrew, I have a question for you.
Oh boy.
Do you think we're gonna get a fucking Tim moment in any of the first 3 episodes?
Oh God, Tim. Maybe.
Do we have that clip?
We do have that clip.
Roll the clip.
Fucking Tim.
Fucking Tim.
Fucking Tim.
Fucking Tim.
I think it's going to be with Mon Mothma's husband. I think we're going to definitely get a fuck this guy kind of moment. There's a tradition here. If we have a long-running Star Wars series, there's going to be a character I just absolutely cannot fucking stand by the end of it. So
do Do you think Sid could show up in like Maul Shadow
I'm
Lord?
ending the stream right
No, 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 no.
So, anyways, Ahsoka. I actually think my favorite thing they showed, aside from the Visions panel, spoilers, was the. I don't know if you were able to see it, Don or Connor, but the mock trailer they put together for Ahsoka season 2 at the end of the panel.
They did a mock, with the.
They
with
did.
The,
have
with
you
the
ever
concept
seen
art.
like the original Empire
Oh, yeah, I
Strikes
saw a
Back
bit of
trailer
it.
with
I
the
saw a bit of
concept
it.
art?
Yeah,
that's
it's like,
what they
the
did.
whole new installment of the Star Wars franchise, and it's just like Harrison
that was
Ford
cool.
half asleep. So they did that with Ahsoka, and they had all the concept art. We got Hu Yang dual wielding. We got a confirmation that Zeb is going to be in season 2 because he was like introducing Gara Zeb Aurelios, and they got the huge reaction there. But the big thing is that Hayden fucking Christensen is just the coolest. I
so
love
cool.
that man. They sang happy birthday to him on the Star Wars stage, which is just, this is how it's like, the Star Wars fandom is awful in so many ways, but I love the fact that we can have these moments where people get the redemption like Ahmed Best and like Hayden Christensen. Because if you told me in 2005 or 2006 or like shortly after the prequels came out that this would happen and that he would be so embraced and people would be wanting him to be in as many projects as he can be, it's so heartwarming to me as a prequel kid, and I'm so glad he's having this moment. And just the sheer excitement when he was like, I can't say how, but Anakin will be back in season 2, and people were so excited for that.
I'm sticking. We may not have got Natalie Portman. We may not have got Ewan McGregor, but I'm sticking with that wild Abeloth theory that I posited during our bingo episode, because I just think Filoni might be onto something with that. I think Filoni might be interested in that. I also, speaking of Filoni, I have to mention him beefing with Chopper. Absolutely hilarious.
What about Chopper packing heat? He's got a fucking gun.
They gave him a gun.
Let's go.
They gave our favorite little war criminal a gun. Like, it's what we wanted. We wanted.
He's gonna commit more war crimes.
That's what we want. That's what we want, is Chopper committing all the crimes.
Oh my god! I love
he's
that he
basically just gonna be like the Nuremberg trials. Yeah, I'll make that look like a Sunday afternoon.
And then he's just gonna like drop Senator Ziono and the whatever like devastation he unleashes.
Forgot about that motherfucker. That's another one. That's another one.
He'll be back. He'll be back because we know Admiral Akbar is gonna be.
This is one of my favorite bits of what character can we find in every Star Wars show that Andrew just absolutely fucking despises.
We're gonna
Sid, Ziono, Tim, Perrin,
Zero the Hutt, Perrin.
Who else? What about
putting
Rebels?
together a team?
Who do you despise?
As Morgan, I hate that motherfucker.
That?
The guy
James Hong,
James Hong's
weird blobby thing.
It's Morgan. Oh yeah, that guy's weird.
There's a couple other ones. But the list is who's the fucking snitch from Kenobi?
Freck!
Yeah.
Freck! Fuck Freck, dude.
Fuck Freck, dude.
Fuck Freck.
Biggest snitch in the galaxy. Like,
we should
screw
make
that little
shirts
bitch.
that just say "fuck Freck."
Yes.
I see this as an absolute
like 3
win.
years too late, but like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's never
So
too
I'm-
late.
No time like the present.
Fuck Freck.
I'm sure when we touch base again, when we talk about Andor later this week, I'm gonna find a character that I just. Whoo! All right.
Should we? I was going to mention as well though about like Admiral Akbar showing up, since he's going to have he's got a bigger role. He's going to
Thrawn and Akbar are going at it. I'm like, yes, because at first when I heard that, I was like, this seems a little like fan servicey. But then I was like, wait a minute, hold on a second. This is fucking genius, actually.
It's Admiral Akbar, man. Like, you know, I'm happy to see him sort of get a moment in the sun. Really, it's very Filoni to like sort of give him some like.
Isn't that pulled almost directly from the Zahn novels?
I
Or am
don't
I
know
making that up?
I don't know if they go head to head in any of the novels, but I know Akbar has a role in it, mainly to be bitter ex-boyfriends with Borsk Fela, the Bothan member of the council, which I guess Ziono has kind of filled the role of Borsk Fela. So maybe him and Akbar will have that kind of bitter ex-boyfriends energy that he had with Borsk in the novels. I'm kind of hoping for that. We have to talk about Balin's Skull since
that's what I was.
Oh, that's right.
Yep. Yes.
Rory McCann as Balin.
I wish there was a better look, but like from what they showed us from that one image, I'm like, I can get with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and I think my favorite part of the whole panel was Dave talking about like how much Ray's passing affected him and how him and the crew were like debating, like, can we even go on without Ray here and what he brought to the character?
So here's my question. Do we think they're going to explain it?
I don't think they will. I think it
Fair
will
enough.
be just kind of like an unmentioned thing. But I do really like that Rory kind of came into this role, Rory McCann, because he was a friend of Ray, and it was a way of kind of like doing right by him. And there's an extra level, I suppose, to Dave Filoni like being really like saddened by losing Ray, because this was a character, I think, with Balin, this was a character that he felt had a real personal connection to. He put a lot of his own kind of feelings into Balin. Like Balin represents a lot of how Filoni feels about the Star Wars franchise in a lot of ways. He's a perfect foil for Ahsoka, just as Ahsoka represents Dave Filoni kind of like trying to figure out where he goes now that, you know, how he squares being George Lucas's apprentice now that George is no longer sort of with the franchise in the way Anakin is. Balin, I think, kind of represents his frustrations with like the kind of rigid nature of the cyclical nature of some of Star Wars storytelling, and his desire to kind of break away and do his own thing. Because we have to remember, like, Dave started wanting to do live action stuff after going to the set of The Last Jedi and meeting Ryan Johnson, who famously broke the mold in a lot of ways with Star Wars. And
don't
Ryan,
tell Dude Bros that.
Ryan inspired him to do live action filmmaking and really.
They're called Republicans, Andrew.
Yeah,
you know what I meant. Yeah. They left a mark on Dave Filoni, and that character means a lot to him, and Ray brought that character to life so magnificently. So it was a very touching moment, and I am excited to see what Rory's going to bring to it. I love Rory McCann as an actor. He's fantastic. He was one of my favorite characters in Game of Thrones as the Hound, and you know I also love him in Hot Fuzz. Yarp. But yeah, it's very intriguing with Balin to see what's going to happen with him.
I'm very intrigued, and the brief things that they hinted at, and the fact that it's going to be filming within a couple days at this point is really exciting. They announced later on that it's going to be probably late 2026, so we got some time until then, but it should be fun.
I don't want to wait that long to see my dude like have his General Grievous moment. I want Shin to show up at that ship, think it's going to be an easy mark with Huyang, and then have him just go like full Master Splinter on her ass and all those like mercenaries until she has to turn tail and flee. That would be awesome. I'd be like, best season of Star Wars ever.
Two more panels.
He just straight up just goes, "You fool! I've been trained in your Jedi arts by Count Dooku."
I would
and then she's just like, "What the fuck?"
He's like, "Who?" And then
who the fuck are you talking about? Like,
long story.
Just make it just a shot-for-shot remake of the Kenobi Grievous fight with Shin and Huyang. And we've got
because then she'll cut all his arms off. I don't want to see Shin win.
Maybe he can regenerate him. I don't know.
That would be great.
2 more panels I want to talk about briefly before we head out. To start, the Zero Company panel. This is going to be a game I play the shit out of, because I have been saying for years, I want me a Star Wars real-time strategy turn-based game. And this is what this is going to be. They described it. very XCOM inspired. They also said Fire Emblem and Baldur's Gate 3. So, boom, there we go. There's going to be a lot of character customization. There's going to be a lot of familiar planets. Speaking of the Ring of Kafrene, they mentioned that that's going to be like the home base of Zero Company, which I think is a really cool tie-in there. And then I thought the trailer looked really cool. I love the unique, different unique characters that seem to be in this party. I love the fact that Two Tubes' species is going to be a Jedi, which I think is really sick. And this just seems like it's going to be my kind of game. And they've said that there's going to be permadeath in this game. So make sure you don't get too attached to these characters or else better be good at the game. But yeah, that's also go ahead.
They also teased the latest DLC for Outlaws, which would feature Hondo. Yeah, and also like I'm obviously I haven't played a whole lot of Outlaws. I've got to Kajimi currently. I have to play more of it. But one thing I will single out that I'm really glad they're doing is they're finally adding they said they're going to add the ability for you to shoot from your speeder, which has been the one thing that I've been like wanting for them to add just to make the chases more exciting. But yeah, like Zero Company
fun, Don, until like you get to the highest wanted level in the game and the Empire is actively trying to fucking kill you.
Oh, exactly. Like I've got close to that and it's a nightmare. You need to have
when you get to it, Don, it's horrifying.
Oh, it's scary shit.
You straight up have to kill. Like, from what I can remember, when you get to the highest wanted level in Outlaws, you have to find death troopers and kill them. And death troopers we've seen in Rogue One be pretty fucking legit in terms of like how they are and like rebels and whatnot. Like, they live up to the name in the game.
Yikes.
Like they will absolutely annihilate you. And I think at least for me, the only way you cannot defeat them with your blaster alone. I think at some point early in the game or in the middle of the game, you get the ability to like be able to pick up enemy weapons. That's what you're going to need to do. You're going to have to pick up a fucking E11 and just start fucking hosing these guys with that. No. Because there's no way you can't. And then I think you have to like use a key card to like deactivate the wanted.
Oh yeah. I've done that. I've done that whole thing.
Wild.
It is wild. I can't wait to
do
that.
But it's like fucking stress inducing.
Just gonna like whack on some Cypress Hill, just get my blaster.
Oh boy.
Visions.
Yes. Oh hell yes.
Hell
this was my favorite panel of the weekend. Village fucking Bride is getting a sequel, ladies and gentlemen.
And the Ninth Jedi is not only getting a sequel, but a fucking series continuation.
That is so cool.
Oh.
They're gonna do that with other shorts. Like, so there's gonna be other shorts they're gonna do that with.
Volume 1.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because I remember watching Visions when it first came out, and I was so goddamn enamored with it. Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing the Ninth Jedi. I remember watching it, going through the episode, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. You know, these Jedi are going to do their thing. They're going to rise up against this dark forces. Nope, they are the dark forces. Yeah. Fuck.
The twist of the lightsabers igniting and they're all red.
That was
my
so incredible.
Yeah,
so
the fact
that is visual storytelling at its
absolutely,
finest.
Absolutely, and that's what Visions excels at, is that bringing new cultures into Star Wars and getting Star Wars from a different perspective. The fact that we're getting sequels to my 3 favorite shorts from Volume 1 is crazy to me that it worked out that way. The Duel, the Village Bride, and the Ninth Jedi. Fun fact, I did order the Ronin Black Series figure today.
That was cool. That was a cool figure. And this is where I have to call back to something I said earlier, because Ronin was one of my favorite. The Duel was one of my favorite like shorts of season 1 too. And I have the Ronin novel currently, and I was putting it off. It was bumped way down the pile of books to read because I was like, then this is like a one-off. Sure, I'll read it when I've got no other Star Wars books to read currently. Now that I know it's getting a sequel, that shit is getting bumped right up to the top because I have to read this book before it comes out, because it's just a gorgeous book, and already like just one chapter in, Emma Miko Candon's writing of it is so cool. I've only seen like the Hidden Fortress among Kurosawa's films, but I can already feel the kind of influence kind of like going across here. So it's I'm so excited for more Visions. Like, I feel like we can finally do the Visions kind of like videos that we've been like sort of waiting to do. Really,
holding off. Yep,
we have been holding off. But it was a really exciting
especially panel. The 3 that we're getting sequels for. We're going to need to revisit. But we're getting the Duel Payback. We're getting the Lost Ones, or the Lost One, and the Ninth Jedi Child of Hope. Cannot wait for those. We're also getting our new shorts. We've got Yuko's Treasure, which is that one with like the teddy bear droid that they were talking about. We got The Smuggler, which is made by Studio Trigger, who did The Twins and The Elder for Volume 1.
Ooh.
So that one, I think, is the one that they described as having the Han Solo type main character. Then you have The Bounty Hunters, which is made by Wit Studio, who famously did the first 3 seasons of Attack on Titan, which is my favorite show of all time. So I'm very excited for that. Song of Four Wings, I believe, is the mech one. I could be wrong there, but I believe that's the one that they said is the mech story. The Bird of Paradise had some really beautiful animation that they showed off in the trailer. That's kind of got like the 3D animation style, I believe. And then Black is the Stormtrooper focused one, which they said is unlike anything that was in Volume 1, which I am very excited to see that played out.
Which is by David Productions. I have to shout out David Productions because my brother is the biggest fan of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And David Productions did JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and now he's been waiting, my brother, for David Productions to be involved in Visions, and they finally are. And it's with a project that's already kind of like wildly different from anything we've seen in the series so far. So that's really cool.
We know we're gonna have some good shit. October 29th. That's another one where it's like, I need this like tomorrow. Like, just give this to me on May the 4th or something, man. Like, I want this so bad.
Andrew, we need breathing space. We've got Andor for we got three episodes. We've got mini movies of Andor for 4 weeks. We need some time to finally do some Clone Wars again.
I know. They keep announcing shit. But then the Ninth Jedi anime, like full-fledged anime series, is maybe the coolest thing that came out of this entire convention.
Very cool.
This is something I never thought was actually going to fucking happen, but the fact that we're getting a full-fledged, like, non-canon full series, and like the fact that it's a non-canon anime series based off of one of the best shorts from Visions, cannot wait. And of course, we can wrap things up by saying that Star Wars Celebration will be returning in 2027, April 1st to the 4th in Los Angeles, which means I can go again.
And I can probably go.
And I can hope to go, hopefully.
So I will be doing everything in my power to go to this one, because it has been...
I will quit my job. No, I won't.
I will leave my job to go to this convention because it's halfway across the fucking country for me. But actually, it is. Actually, it is the entirety across the country for me.
Actually, yeah.
But it's coast to coast. Actually, awesome geography there, Andrew. But
I never was good at geography.
Yeah, but I am so excited. The fact that by the time this convention happens, it will have been 8 years since the last time I've been at Celebration is insane to me.
First time,
especially because
I realized as well. It will be by the time it rolls around, this pod will be 5 years old.
5 years old,
which will be crazy.
And it could be our.
I don't like that.
Where do you think we'll be? We'll be on season 4? We'll be on season 4 of the Clone Wars by that point, if we're lucky.
Season 3, take it or leave it.
Oh God,
3, take it or leave it. But
Hondo and Arthur coming in. Final offer.
I can't wait. I am so excited. And the fact that I was supposed to go to Anaheim and couldn't go, I'm still so bummed out about. But the fact that I'm going to redeem it and hopefully meet some of you guys is going to be insane. So to those listening, to those watching, hope to see you in 2027. We can only hope. That's our goal. That's our goal. But what a weekend of Star Wars it was as we look forward to Andor Season 2, which is literally, as we're recording, 5 minutes away from release.
And the re-release of Revenge of the Sith.
Absolutely. Yes. This Saturday, I'm going. I have my tickets. I was going to go Friday. Something came up, but I'm still going Saturday.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait.
It'll be my first time seeing it in theaters. So that is...
It'll be my first time seeing it in theaters since I was 8 years old.
So speaking as someone who got to watch it like as like an 11-year-old, you are in for a good time, my dude. It is
bawl my eyes out.
Oh, like I have such fun memories of like just I still have like sense memories of
losing it at Order 66. But I feel like when I watch Order 66 now, I'm gonna be like, they kind of deserved it.
You're going to be like, actually, there's like 8 other Jedi that survived. So
actually, there's like, we have like 20 Jedi that have on record survived Order 66.
When you get older, you realize that Palpatine is right.
No, that's when you know you're watching the franchise wrong. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us. As for you guys, where can everyone find you? Starting with Donovan, where can everyone find you as we wrap things up?
So you can find me on Twitter at Donovan Mead, TikTok at Donovan McComish, Instagram at Donovan_McComish, same for Threads, and Blue Sky. You can find me at DonovanMcComish.bsky.social. I am also a question writer for Star Wars Inner Galaxy Epic Confrontations along with Conor, Eli, Amy, etc. We do some really cool. We have just do some really cool matches lined up. Really exciting stuff. I have also written a Star Wars fan story called Scars of War that is currently out there in the wild. I need to post an updated link to it. But if you like Star Wars and pain, you like stories about like clones struggling with trauma after Order 66, and same for Jedi, then maybe consider giving it a read. I had a lot of fun writing it.
Conor, buddy, it's been a while. Where can the good people find you?
Instagram, CottonmanJFO, where I just post about
Philly
sports, Go Birds, and Star Wars and other stuff. I don't really use Twitter anymore. I've deactivated it. I'm probably going to delete it at some point.
You got out, buddy. You got out.
I download my data, of course. Which I still don't know what that does. Where else?
Blue Sky?
Knights of I don't really use Blue Sky, but follow me there. Depp of Banana, same fucking handle. I also record over at Knights of the Nerd Republic, over at Nerd Academy Podcast. Find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, wherever the fuck. I don't fucking know. Like Don said, I write questions and co-host over at Star Wars in a Galaxy Epic Confrontations. You can find all of our past, present, and future matches over at the Star Wars in a Galaxy YouTube channel and at In a Galaxy Trivia on Instagram,
just on Blue Sky,
Twitter, and that's about it. Yeah, I don't fucking know. Andrew, where?
All right. All socials at Starlight Andrew. You can follow the pod on Twitter at For the Repub Pod, on Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok at For the Republic Pod. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are on the road to 100. It's going to be crazy if we hit it literally like around the time of episode 100. It's happening because we got a couple episodes left. And then Andor Season 2, our recaps are going to be starting this weekend because I will be busy Friday and Saturday watching.
We're actually going to start tonight. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Live reaction to the episode.
Live stream after this episode.
But probably this weekend, I would say. And then look out for the episode early next week. We're going to figure out the best way to record these, since we're getting them in batches of 3. So these are going to be long ass fucking episodes, but we're going to figure out a way. So I hope everyone enjoyed Celebration. I hope everyone enjoys Andor. We got a new Star Wars show coming. And until next time, may the Force be with you.